Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all very well. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make these really easy frilly velvet pillows. Okay, so to make this pillow you're going to need 100 grams of your velvet yarn. I'm using the Himalaya velvet yarn. I'm using the blue one. You're also going to need a contrasting colour. I'm using like a cream for this because I think that cream frills, it just makes sense. So this is just some scrap that I have. This is from B&M. It's the Trim brand. It's the velvet cream yarn that they have. And then you're also going to need a 4mm hook, some measuring tape and some scissors, and then you're also going to need some toy stuffing, and you can get this at most craft stores. So yeah, that's everything you need. Now just for reference, this pillow measures 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches. So if you're not using velvet yarn and you're just using like a regular acrylic yarn or a much thinner yarn, then you're going to need to make the amount of chains that you need to make 7.5 inches, and that might differ for whatever yarn you're using. If you're using a much thinner yarn, you're going to need to do more chains, and if you're using a chunkier yarn than I am, then you're going to need to do less chains. But ultimately you need the right amount of chains that will equal 7.5 inches long, and then you'll do as many rows as you need until it's 7.5 inches high. To start, we're going to make a slip knot, and then we're going to make a chain that is long enough to fit the width of this pillow. So I'm going to make about 27 chains plus one for that turning chain. So I'll show you how to do the slip knot. So you're going to want to take your short end and wrap it over into a number 6. That's how I personally like to remember it. Make a little number 6 like that. Take your pinch the part where they cross over to hold it there. Take your long string of yarn and then just feed it through that little number 6 loop. So feed that through like that, and then that piece of yarn that we just fed through, pull it through and pull your short end and your long end to tighten it like that. And that is your slip knot, and then you can just tighten it so that it actually fits on the hook. Okay, so now we're going to make, like I said, 27 chains plus one. If you have smaller, thinner yarn, you're going to need to do more chains and more rows because you need to build up that thickness and that density. However, because I'm using quite a thick yarn, I don't need to do as many chains to get 7.5 inches wide. So chain as many chains that you need to get 7.5 inches. So I'm going to chain 27, and the way you chain is just wrap the long piece of yarn around the hook and slide the hook down through the loop, and that's your chain. And you just repeat that, yarn over and slide the hook down through the loop. Okay, and I'm going to continue that until I have 27 chains. So I have 27 chains, and then I'm going to make an extra one because we need a turning chain. So that's the extra one. So technically 27 plus 1, 28 in total. And now we're going to start single crocheting across the row. So to do a single crochet, you're going to, for this pattern, we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So this is our first chain and this is our second chain. So we're going to insert the hook into the second chain like this, yarn over, pull the hook down the first loop like that, and then yarn over, pull the hook down both loops like that, and that is your single crochet. So I'll do that again. Insert the hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull the hook down the first loop, yarn over, pull the hook down both loops. Okay, so I'm going to do this into each chain across the row, and then when I get to the last chain, I'll come back and show you how we turn the work. Okay, so I've just reached my last single crochet that I need to do in this last loop. Okay, so now we've reached the end of the row and we're going to start row 2, and row 2 is pretty much the exact same thing. So every time you reach the end of the row, you're going to want to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work the other way, and then we work across this way. And just to make this a bit easier, I'm also going to weave in this end as I'm crocheting along this row, because I don't really want to do any sewing afterwards, so this just makes it easier. So now we're going to make single crochet stitches across the entire row, just like we did in the previous row. So I'm going to catch this short piece on my hook so that we can weave it in. So I just looped it right over the hook, and then I'm going to single crochet into that first stitch right there that we just single crocheted in, and then I'm going to single crochet into each stitch across the row, and I'm also looping this piece over until it is fully tucked in as I'm doing it. Okay, I'm going to continue this until I get to the end of the row. Okay, so now I've reached the end of the row. So this is row 2 finished, and we're now going to work on row 3, and you're going to want to continue making these rows until your work reaches 7.5 inches tall. I'm going to continue now making 1 single crochet into each stitch. Once I reach the end of the row, I'll chain 1 and turn the work, and I will keep doing this as many times as I need to until my work reaches 7.5 inches. So I will let you know at the end how many rows I end up doing. Okay, I've just finished my last row. I ended up doing 28 rows, so I'm going to show you how to fasten off now. So you're just going to, when you reach the end of your row, going to chain 1 and cut the yarn. Okay, so I'm going to make another one of these panels the exact same way, 28 rows of single crochet, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to attach them together. So here's my second panel. I'm just going to fasten it off. And now we're going to join these together. So I'm just going to lay these side by side so you can see exactly how I'm joining them together. So here are my ends, they're both facing the same way, and then I'm just going to pick up the pieces like this and join them together so that both of the right sides are on the outside. I'm going to start in one corner. I'm going to work down, across, back up, and then across. And once we get to about here, the middle, we're going to stuff the pillow. You're going to grab your yarn and you're going to make a slip knot like that, and you're going to pick up your panels, and I'm going to start in the top right corner. I'm going to insert the hook into the corner of the first panel and into the corner of the second panel. So they should be both on the hook, and then I'm going to take my slip knot and add that to the hook, and then I'm going to pull the slip knot through both corners like that, and then I'm going to chain 1 to just make sure that they are attached. So to attach both of these panels together, I'm going to be doing a slip stitch, and I'm just going to be going into any spaces that I can see here, because I know that these aren't really proper stitches, but yeah, I'm just going to line the panels up and go into each space of each panel and slip stitch through both. So I'm just going to insert the hook into the next space I see, so about here, and then in the next space of the second panel, so about here, like that, and I'm going to make a slip stitch. So the slip stitch is literally just yarn over, pull through both loops and pull through the first loop. So it's basically just pulling through all the loops on your hook. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go into the next space and the next space of the second panel, yarn over, pull through and pull through, and you can see that these are attaching. So I'm going to continue this all the way around the pillow, and I'm going to stop once I get to about the middle of the top of the pillow. So I'm going to go down, across, back up, and then I'm going to stop about here and we're going to stuff the pillow. Okay, so I've just stopped halfway at the top. So I'm going to now stuff the pillow. So I like to stuff all the way to the bottom first and then work my way up. And make sure that all of the stuffing that you put at this kind of bottom layer is all even before you add any more. Okay, so most of the pillow is now stuffed. I'm going to keep slip stitching, and as I'm going along I'm just going to fill this section here with a little bit more stuffing. And just be careful that you don't crochet like any of the stuffing in your stitches, because sometimes that can happen. Okay, so now I've reached the end. I'm just going to slip stitch back into that first slip stitch that we made. And I'm going to chain 2 to fasten off. Okay, and then just pull that tight. And then the other 2 tails that are here, I'm just going to double knot these so that they are secure. So these 2 tails I'm just going to weave in with my hook. So now I'm going to work on the border, so I'm going to grab my scrap cream yarn and I'm going to make a slip knot just like we have been doing. And I'm going to attach this slip knot into the corner, the same corner where my tail is. So I'm going to insert my hook there in the corner and then attach the slip knot on. And chain 1 just to make sure that's attached. And then I'm going to make a single crochet into each of the slip stitches around. So I'm going to make the first single crochet in the exact same spot. And then I'm going to make 1 in each of the slip stitches around, and I'm also going to be weaving in these ends as I go. I'm going to continue this all the way around, and then I'll meet you back when I reach the end in the corner here. Okay, so I've just reached the end of the round, and I'm going to slip stitch now back into that first single crochet. Okay, and now for row 2, and this is the final row, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to make 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So 1 and 2, and then in the next stitch 1 and I'm going to continue this all the way around, and then I will show you how we fasten off when we get to the end of the row. I have just finished my last 2 single crochets, and now I'm going to slip stitch back into that first single crochet that we made, and then I'm going to chain 2 and fasten off. And just pull that knot tight, but not too tight because you don't want to rip the yarn. And then I'm just going to weave this tail into a few areas of the white and then cut the yarn, and then we're all done. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up, and if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to make next, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!